Good morning, children. How are you today? Fine? Okay. Expecting the same reply, kids. Because, see, if we start coercing, if we start complaining, it's not a solution, in fact. The difficult the condition or circumstances we do get, we must increase our level of preparedness. And every such emergency condition, extraordinary situation, difficult times, in fact, that teach us a lot, that give us a lot of lesson, children. Fine. So let us come back to our topic as the concluding topic now from this chapter, era of one party dominance. Yesterday also we discussed about two opposition party, Communist Party of India and Socialist Party. Fine. In that series today we are going to discuss the two other opposition party of those days of India just after independence, Bhartiya Jana Sangh and Swatantra Party. Because children, because in our country we do have the multi-party democracy. In this multi-party democracy, opposition parties play an eminent role in smooth functioning of our system. In their absence, chances are there that the ruling party would try to dictate its terms and conditions. Fine. That's why the presence of opposition parties are a must in democracy and in the smooth functioning of a democracy, where such a democracy where the common people is at the center stage and their betterment must be ensured at every point of time, because in our country we do have the concept of welfare state, children. Fine. So different topics what we discussed in this chapter, be that when we begin with the challenge of nation building, then instituting democratic politics, election had been conducted, Congress dominated in fact the first three general election, Congress dominance as a social nature of Congress dominance we discussed, and then Congress as a social and ideological coalition. Fine. The way it tolerated and managed different factions, and in a series when we started emergence of opposition parties, discussing in general the theoretical aspect, the policy, and the factors responsible for it we discussed. Thereafter the two opposition party, last day we discussed Socialist Party and the Communist Party of India. Today we are going to discuss Bhartiya Jana Sangh and Swatantra Party. Fine. See, first we will go to discuss the emergence of the Bhartiya Jana Sangh, children. What was it in fact? The present ruling party, though party, a single party is not ruling at present, children. Be that our state, home state Bihar, or be that our nation at central level. It's alliance government, coalition government. At state level we do have the alliance of Janata Dal United, BJP, okay, and at central level we do have the rule of NDA. Rather, NDA used to rule in Bihar also, at center also. Fine. Several parties are there, but for the sake of our state, the two main parties are Bharatiya Janata Party and Janata Dal United. So this party, in fact, Bharatiya Janata Party, used to trace its root with Bhartiya Jana Sangh, in fact. The mother organization of Bharatiya Janata Party had been Bhartiya Jana Sangh. Fine. This Bhartiya Jana Sangh, it was the year 1951. It got established by Shyama Prasad Mukherjee being its founder president. Okay. And as far as its lineage is concerned, if we want to trace back, then certainly we need to trace it with RSS, with Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, and the Hindu Mahasabha. These two organizations were there before independence in our country. Okay. This Jana Sangh, popularly known as Jana Sangh, full name was Bhartiya Jana Sangh. This was different from other parties, in fact, children. In terms of two factors, ideology and program. In terms of its ideology and program, Bhartiya Jana Sangh or Jana Sangh was different from the other political party, existing other political parties. Okay, and what did it actually emphasize? It emphasized one idea. That idea was of one country, one culture, one nation. That only one culture should be there in the country. And nation must be one. So somewhere it believed that country could become modern, progressive and strong on the basis of Indian culture and tradition. What was it? Means this party emphasized the concept of culture or the importance of the culture, in fact, children. We know how important is Indian culture for us, tradition for us. So this party, in fact, very strong emphasis had been given on Indian culture and tradition. Okay. That nation must be modern, must be progressive, must be strong, based on our culture and tradition. Clear? We know the important role that is being played by the culture, by our tradition. Okay, and these are culture and tradition, they make us strong. They somewhere develop a very stronger bond, or a strongest bond, in fact, among the people living in a society. Okay. This party, you must have heard about the concept of Akhand Bharat. Means India certainly is one, no partition of the nation, and it used to emphasize on reunion of India and Pakistan. That India Pakistan must be reunited. Always this party kept leading, or party has been in forefront whenever any movement started to replace English as an official language. That official language, English, must be replaced with Hindi. Okay, and along with it, this party has also been a very consistent advocate of India developing nuclear weapons. Just before going to the nuclear weapons, children, or programs, this party was opposed to the granting of concessions to religious and cultural minorities. That the religious minorities people, the cultural minorities people, they must not be given concession. This has been also one of the ideology of Jana Sangh or Bhartiya Jana Sangh. Fine. And when it has been observed, or we see a very landmark development, that China carried out its nuclear test, atomic test in 1964. Then this party started emphasizing that our nuclear program must be there in place, so that if any of our neighbors ever try to dictate their terms and conditions, we must be ready to teach them a lesson. Otherwise, we don't have any other intention, but safety and security is our right, is our, or must be our utmost concern, greatest concern. That's why constantly and consistently advocating, this party kept advocating of India developing nuclear weapons, because China has already done it. Irrespective of the fact, because China has done that, suddenly the party got a logic. Otherwise also, party told that we must have our own nuclear program, nuclear weapons. Okay. Since the very first election, 1951-52, in general we say 52 general election. See, now their electoral journey, how did this progress, how did this party move ahead? This party got only 3 seats in first general election of India, only 3 seats. Okay. Then in the second general election, it was 4 seats. So once 3, then 4, and like this. This was the party, in fact, when it got replaced by Bhartiya Janata Party. Then, in the year 1984, when election had been conducted after the very unfortunate incident when our then Prime Minister was shot dead by a bodyguard, then election was also held. It was due, in fact. So, in that election, children, Bharatiya Janata Party got only 2 seats in Lok Sabha. And then their revival started from 2 till what is their strength at present. In Lok Sabha, Bharatiya Janata Party does have 303 seats. Fine. Any party after 1984 parliamentary election, children, Bharatiya Janata Party became the first party to get majority on its own, to cross the magic figure. Suppose for 543 all parliamentary constituency election takes place, then the magic figure used to be simply divided by 2, add 1. Okay, so 543 divided by 2, it comes to 71.5. So it will be 272 plus 1, 273. 273 used to be the magic figure. Remember, and just imagine that party got only 2 seats in 1984 and then the journey began. So its mother organization, Bhartiya Jana Sangh, got only 3 seats in 1952 general election, 4 seats in next general election 1957. Basically, its support base, this party had a very strong support in the urban areas, in the Hindi speaking states. Hindi speaking states, be that Madhya Pradesh, be that Rajasthan, be that Uttar Pradesh, be that Delhi. Okay, very strong support base it had. And very famous leaders, the renowned leaders, like its founder president, Shyama Prasad Mukherjee. How can you forget about Deen Dayal Upadhyaya? Right now, one station, railway station has been named after his name. Mughal Sarai has been renamed as Deen Dayal Upadhyaya. In short, it is being written DDU. Okay. Another very renowned leader, Balraj Madhok. Jana Sangh, those days leader, in fact. Okay. So, as I told, that the present main party of our ruling alliance of NDA, Bharatiya Janata Party, it traces its roots to Bhartiya Jana Sangh. Fine. Any question you do have, must ask, children. Now we are moving to the second party, that is Swatantra Party. Name itself is Swatantra Party. Okay, so certainly it will be independent. It will be Swatantra in itself. This party was formed in 1959. What happened actually in the year 1959, children? That Nagpur resolution of Indian National Congress had been passed. August 1959, Nagpur resolution, just before it was there, and this Nagpur resolution called for, it had been called for to discuss the issues like land ceilings, takeover of food grain trade by the state, adoption of cooperative farming, how should we adopt cooperative farming, and parties those days. See, all the leaders of all these opposition party, even what we discussed and we are discussing, all their leaders earlier they were in Congress, in fact. So all the old Congress person, be that C. Rajgopalachari, Chakravarti Rajgopalachari, be that N.G. Ranga, be that Minu Masani, be that K. M. Munshi, these all veteran Congress, old congressmen, they all were. In this, they formed the party, Swatantra Party, in fact. Okay, and this party also had a different ideology, or it stood out from the others in terms of its position on economic issues. Main concern for them was their economic issues, children, for Swatantra Party. Okay, then what did it really emphasize? What did it really want? This party, Swatantra Party, wanted the government to be less and less involved in controlling the economy. Told that government must not be involved enough to control economy everywhere. So the involvement of the government must be minimum as per the ideology of Swatantra Party. And this party believed that prosperity could come only through individual freedom. Means this party was a champion thinker that prosperity is possible through individual freedom only. Unless we give freedom to individual, prosperity is not possible. And this party was critical of development strategy of state intervention. In economy, state must not intervene. In centralized planning, state must not intervene. In nationalization, public sector, state must not intervene. So basically it was critical in development of the strategy of state intervention in economy, centralized planning, nationalization, public sector, and in its place children, this party favored expansion of a free private sector. What did it emphasize? It emphasized on a free private sector, children. Okay, means you can now relate it that this party was moving somewhat towards capitalism point of view, that free private sector should be given, and instead favored the free private sector. Land ceilings, it was dead against, as we discussed. In agriculture, it was against the land ceiling. Cooperative farming, it opposed because there was a state intervention. State trading, it opposed. And simultaneously, children, it also opposed to the progressive tax regime that has been kept in place by the side of a government tax regime, and this party demanded dismantling of the licensing regime, children. Okay, licensing regime, it wanted and demanded to abolish. Quota and permit system, this license Raj system, in fact, it was known as those days. So this party was against it. Okay, so against land ceiling in agriculture, against cooperative farming, against state trading, against progressive tax regime, and it demanded that licensing regime must be dismantled. And simultaneously, it was also against, this party was against the policy of non-alignment, children. This was against the policy of non-alignment and maintaining a friendly relations with the Soviet Union. It didn't want to maintain a good relationship, a friendly relationship with Soviet Union. Now, as I hinted you, that certainly it was going to tilt towards the United States. Okay, so it advocated closer ties with the United States. And where did it get strength? This party, Swatantra party, it used to gain strength in different parts of our country, and with a very, very exclusive way, that was of merger. Merger with whom? With several regional parties and several regional interest group. This party had a pact. Merger was there. It attracted the landlords. It also attracted the landlords for two reasons, because princes and the landlords were attracted who wanted to protect their land and status, particularly that was being threatened by the land reforms legislation, land ceiling act, remember. Industrialist and the business class, children. Okay, the industrialist and the business class, they supported the party because their interest had been protected by them. That's why they supported the Swatantra party. Okay, but its electoral success was not so renowned. In fact, it has a very narrow social base, this party had, and a lack of a very dedicated cadre this party had. Those things didn't allow the party members to build a strong organizational network. Okay, that's why as far as electoral successes are concerned, it was not very successful. This party didn't get the popular support always of the people, but the policy, the issues that had been taken up by this party, it was worth to consider, and it really played an instrumental role in keeping the ruling party under check undoubtedly, children. Okay, and as we know about C. Rajgopalachari, Chakravarti Rajgopalachari, a veteran Congress leader, a very renowned writer, very close associate of Mahatma Gandhi. He had also been a member of Constituent Assembly. Okay, and he was also the first Indian. He was the first Indian to be the Governor General of India. We say it the first and last Indian Governor General. A question of general knowledge, then the answer is C. Rajgopalachari, Chakravarti Rajgopalachari. Thereafter, a minister in Union Cabinet, later also became the Chief Minister, and he is another very renowned thing attached associated with him, that the Bharat Ratna Award. He is the first recipient of, first winner of, first person to get Bharat Ratna Award. Okay, so the credit and so many leaders were attached like C. Rajgopalachari. Certainly, every opposition party has been very important, children, and that's why we kept on following the system of a multi-party democracy in our country. Any question you do have, must ask, or next day before beginning a class, you must ask your children. Fine. Do your work regularly, religiously. Till then, stay safe, take care, have a good day.